You're listening to GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage. It is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. It is just before the noon hour, and we are tracking some ongoing severe storms across the state of Missouri. So, the severe weather appeared to be going to the south of Interstate 44, but a few of those storms have now moved into our area. And so, we want to go ahead and bring you the latest information that we know about these storms here. Severe thunderstorm watch goes in effect for the areas in pink, so our southern counties under that severe thunderstorm watch until 6 p.m. this evening. Our main hazards are going to be severe hail and then 70-mile-per-hour winds. We're talking about hail up to the size of potentially baseball-sized hail. And we've already got some very significant hail moving in with our storm here in the Springfield area. So let's go ahead and start off by bringing you the latest here on this warning in the Springfield area, because again, some very significant hail is going to be moving into downtown Springfield if we haven't already seen that already. New severe thunderstorm warning issued for Christian, Polk, Lawrence, Greene, and Dade counties until 12:15 p.m. At 11:39 a.m., a severe thunderstorm had produced up to softball-sized hail near Republic, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. This has a destructive tag on it. Again, we are looking at the possibility of hail up to apple-sized hail with this particular storm, teacup or apple-sized hail, depending on how you want to look at that here. These destructive storms will be moving towards Republic as well as the western Springfield area, as we've already seen that here. So you'll notice some whites and purples showing up just to the west and northwest of Springfield, likely dealing with some very significant hail there in the Springfield area. We're also looking at the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds with this storm as well. It will be moving towards Ash Grove and Walnut Grove around the noon hour. The impacts, people and animals outdoors could be severely injured with this hail. We're expecting windows to be shattered, extensive damage to roof sidings and vehicles will be possible. Other locations impacted include Dadeville, we've got Halltown, Glidewell, and Cave Springs and Brighton. This also includes Interstates 44 between mile markers 53 and 83. So if you are on Interstate 44, particularly between those mile markers, then you will want to try to avoid this storm, because again, we are talking about hail that could potentially total vehicles across the Springfield area. This is potentially a deadly storm if you are outside in the elements. As again, there is a destructive tag. We also have observed tag on this storm, as well as we do have confirmation that this storm is ongoing across the Springfield area. So again, we're talking about some very big hail moving into the Springfield area, and that warning goes until 12:15 p.m. Again, there is a destructive tag on this storm, as hail up to the size of apples is going to be possible across that area. We're also tracking a few other hailstorms, including this one in the Nevada area. Let's go ahead and show you this here. New severe thunderstorm warning for Barton, Cedar, St. Clair, and Vernon counties until 12:30 p.m. At 11:46 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Sheldon, or 9 miles north of Lamar, moving northeast at 80 miles per hour. These storms are moving fast. Hazards include golf ball size hail. This is a radar indicated threat. So again, people and animals could be injured outside. We're looking at damage to roof sidings, windows, and vehicles. Locations impacted include Nevada, El Dorado Springs, Osceola, Sheldon, Montevallo, Walker, Shell City, Bernal, Jericho Springs, Moundville, Richards, Milo, and Deerfield, and Metz, and as well as Harwood. Any of those areas are under this warning that remains in effect until 12:30. Again, this is Barton, Vernon, Cedar, and St. Clair counties under a severe thunderstorm warning for golf ball size hail, radar indicated, but there is also a considerable threat tag with this storm. And so we've got a few different areas where we've got the heavier storms here. We've got a pretty big storm just to the southeast of Bernal, west of Sheldon. So that's on the southern end of Vernon County, also into northern Barton County. So we've got that. A couple of other storms moving through just to the north of Jericho Springs. Within each one of these storms could produce up to hail up to the size of golf balls. So again, that's going to be the main hazard with this particular warning that goes for Barton, Vernon, St. Clair, and Cedar counties until 12:30. Okay, we also just got another warning. So warnings are beginning to develop very quickly here across southwestern Missouri. New severe thunderstorm warning was issued for Cherokee and Crawford counties in Kansas, but Barton and Jasper counties in Missouri. This goes until 12:15 p.m. At 11:55 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Columbus, moving northeast at 75 miles per hour. Hazards include lime-sized hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. Locations impacted include Pittsburgh, Carl Junction, Lamar, Frontenac, Columbus, Galena, Girard, Liberal, and into Franklin, Nashville, and Mendamines. Those areas under a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable threat tag until 12:15. We are looking at hail up to the size of limes is going to be possible. So, just to kind of do a quick check-in on our warnings here. This warning to the north, we are looking at the possibility of hail up to the size of golf balls. Then we've got lime-sized hail, a little bit bigger across this warning, and then this warning in Springfield, that's going to be the most destructive warning that we have. Again, we're looking at the possibility of hail up to the size of apples. That's 3 inches in diameter. That is going to cause some serious damage for those areas in the Springfield area. So again, our main concern with a lot of these storms today is going to be that large hail, but a few damaging winds cannot be ruled out. Tornado risk is extremely low, but that is something else that we will be watching for as we go through the rest of the afternoon hours. All right, and so we are now here at the top of the hour. This is GWP Live's severe weather coverage. It is now 12 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon, April 28th. We are tracking some ongoing severe storms across the region here. So we've got warnings that are in effect for multiple different areas. We've got ones just to the north of Joplin, including Lamar. We've got one that goes for El Dorado, Springs, and Nevada across western Missouri, and then we've even got a warning in effect for Springfield, where we are looking at some very serious hail that is going to be moving through that area. And so you'll notice that the worst of the hail with this storm in Springfield appears to be now on the northern side of Springfield around Valley Water Mills. That's going to be moving towards Fairgrove as well. And so again, some pretty destructive hail. We've also got another area that appears to be showing up here on the radar on the southeast side of Springfield. Could be looking at some pretty big hail right here as well. So yeah, I would not be surprised if we had hail, I would say at least probably golf ball size hail out of this storm right here on the southeast side of Springfield. So we likely just saw some very significant hail in the Springfield area. So we'll have to see if we get any damage reports across those areas. But at least nothing has come in yet. But again, that's some very serious hail that is showing up there on the radar. Again, here in the pink, that's where our main risk is going to be, although we've had warnings outside of that. And so we're talking about a severe thunderstorm watch across this pink area until 6 p.m. As again, our main concern is going to be some pretty large hail, and we've already seen that here just within the last couple of minutes here across the area. All right, we just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning on the north side of Springfield. Let's go ahead and look at that warning here. This goes for Webster, Dallas, Laclede, Polk, and Greene counties in Missouri until 12:30 p.m. And so we are looking at softball size hail possible out of this storm. So the threat level has gone up even further. This warning goes in effect until 12:30 p.m. At 11:57 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Fairgrove, or 8 miles northwest of Stratford, moving northeast 65 miles per hour. This is a destructive storm for areas around the Buffalo and Bennett Springs Park area. This is a radar indicated threat. We are looking at, again, the possibility of up to softball size hail. This will be moving towards Fairgrove within the next couple minutes. Buffalo, this storm will be affecting you at around 12:15. Other locations included in this, or other locations that could be impacted by this storm, include Phillipsburg, Halfway, Lewisburg, Elkland, Batesville, Brighton, March, Pumpkin Center, Olive, and Foose. This includes Interstate 44 between mile markers 88 and 95, as well as between 97 and 118. So those are the different areas that could be impacted here by this new warning that was issued. Again, this warning goes for Webster, Dallas, Laclede, Polk, and Greene counties. We are looking at the possibility of softball size hail. That's about as big as hail gets here with these storms here, so that's 4 inches in diameter. So again, some very significant hail is going to be possible. We've already had some reports coming in of some very significant hail. In fact, let's go ahead and read off some of the reports that we have. In Benton County, Arkansas, which is in northwest Arkansas, in Cave Springs, there was a report of apple size hail. We also had lime size hail reported there in Benton, Arkansas, Lowell, and into Berry County. We had tennis ball size hail reported there. We had quarter size hail in Cassville. We've also had in Purdy, Missouri, lime size hail. Aurora in Lawrence County, Missouri, there was baseball size hail reported. And then we also had a report just a few minutes ago from Willard in Greene County, Missouri. In Willard, there was baseball size hail reported. So again, we've had hail up to the size of baseballs, but now the storm appears to be gaining strength, and so the hail may get even bigger as we go through the next several minutes here. Again, it's really this area right in here, just to the southwest of Fairgrove, where we are looking at some very significant hail that's going to be possible. Again, Fairgrove, the storm is moving into your area right now. Again, this is likely just some very big hail that is moving in, possibly up to the size of softballs there in the Fairgrove area. So please take shelter, move that vehicle under some sort of awning, maybe go to a gas station that can shield you from the hail. A garage, of course, is probably going to be your safest option, but anything that may be able to cover your windshield and even the top of your vehicle. You also need to be inside a very safe place as well, because softball size hail is enough to cause severe damage. It can't even be deadly if you're hit by softball size hail. So again, please take shelter if you're in any of those locations that we have just mentioned on the north side of Springfield. We are also still tracking some storms across, let's see, we're getting into Sheldon right now in the Bellamy area, some pretty large hail likely out of that. Golf ball size hail with this. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Barton, Cedar, St. Clair, and Vernon counties until 12:30. These storms are moving very quickly. They're moving northeast at 80 miles per hour. So again, we're talking about some very fast movement with these particular storms here. Again, this has really blown up very quickly. Just within the last couple of hours, we've seen these storms develop. Not even really an hour ago did we have these storms in effect. In fact, let me show you. Here's where we were about 40 minutes ago. We had a couple of storms southwest of Springfield, but you'll notice just how quickly these storms have developed in western Missouri here. Now, all of a sudden, we are dealing with some pretty significant hail in our southwestern counties right now. Okay, and we just had a severe thunderstorm watch. The severe thunderstorm watch has just now been extended further to the north. I believe we now have US 54 under this watch. So the area of concern, or the area that we're watching for these storms to develop, has now expanded a little bit further to the north. So that's what we're going to be looking for here. We'll see when that is updated. So far we haven't seen that watch updated, but I just got word that they are going to be expanding that watch a little bit further to the north. So a few additional areas that weren't originally under that risk for severe weather, now we're going to be seeing that here. All right, let's go ahead and also, if you are tuning in for today's live coverage and you are relying on this video to get weather information, I want you to be aware that we will, regardless, be going off the air at around 1:30 until about 3:30, and that is because I actually have a class that I will be going to. So I will have to leave, obviously, when that takes place at 1:30. So again, if you are relying on this video, please be aware that there will be an abrupt ending at 1:30 regardless. All right, let's go ahead and show you the updated map. Well, it's actually not quite updated from the Storm Prediction Center. They will be updating that very soon. But again, you'll notice that our southern counties are under that marginal risk. In fact, I really would not be surprised if this were to shift a little bit further to the north, just considering that some of these storms are starting to move further north than what we originally anticipated here. So today's severe weather threat originally was going to be along and south of Interstate 44. That was the reason why I didn't expect us to be going live today. But again, that risk has moved a little bit further to the north than originally anticipated. These storms have developed further north, and so that is part of the reason why we are dealing with these storms and here on this live stream why we're tracking these storms, because again, they have moved a little bit further north than what was originally anticipated in this forecast. So that is what we're dealing with. So if you were just tuning in, this is GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage, and we are tracking some ongoing storms, looking at the possibility of softball-sized hail on the northern side of Springfield. We've already had some very large hail that was recorded around Willard recently. We had baseball-sized hail reported with these storms, but the radar is now showing that the hail could have grown to, again, possibly upwards of softball-sized hail. That's 4 inches in diameter, and that will cause very significant damage if it hits your location. All right, we will now go into a brief intermission. We will be back here. This is GWP Live's Severe Weather Coverage. All right, and we are back here. This is GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. It is now Tuesday afternoon, just after the noon hour, 12:14 to be exact, and we are tracking again ongoing severe thunderstorms across our southwestern counties, now starting to move into our central and eastern counties, and we'll continue to see that as again these storms have developed very quickly. They are moving very quickly as well. So just kind of really crazy to just see how quickly this has all started to take place here. And yeah, just very, very quick for these storms to develop. This is not what was forecasted for today. So again, definitely some things in the atmosphere coming together that were not anticipated here. But anyway, so let's go ahead and show you. We've got a couple of new warnings that have been issued. One on in our northwestern counties. So now they're even expanding further to the north. Let's go ahead and look at this storm right here. This is um, for Clinton. Not that Clinton's had enough severe weather so far this spring here, but yeah. So new severe thunderstorm warning for, let's see, we've got Henry County under that warning, as we said in Clinton, and we're having some technical difficulties with that. We'll go ahead and we'll pull it up on here. So yeah, we got Henry, Pettis, and Johnson counties under a new severe thunderstorm warning till 12:45. At 12:06 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Clinton, moving northeast 55 miles per hour. We're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hails. This is more on the baseline side, so that's good. So we're looking at hail damage to vehicles, wind damage to roof sidings and trees will be possible out of this warning. So again, this includes, we've got Clinton, Windsor, Leeton, Calhoun, and Post Oak under this warning until 12:45. So new severe thunderstorm warning. It's this cell right here around Shawnee Mound, just to the southwest of Leeton. This is the one that we're tracking. It's north of Clinton. So again, looking at possibly some very big hail out of that warning, as we're looking at some quarter-size hail with that storm. Okay, we also just had a new warning issued further to the south right here. Let's go ahead and get you the latest and greatest on that here. Well, it's not really the greatest anytime we're dealing with this kind of hail. Severe thunderstorm warning issued for Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Polk, and St. Clair counties in western Missouri until 12:45 p.m. At 12:12 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Humansville, or 13 miles northeast of Stockton, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazards include lime-size hail. This is a considerable threat. Locations impacted include Lake Pomptomac, Pittsburgh, Humansville, Polk, Hermitage, Wabalo, Urbana, Wheatland, Preston, Cross Timbers, Collins, Flemington, and Elkton. Again, we're looking at hail up to the size of limes. So lime size hail, there is a considerable threat tag with this severe thunderstorm warning. So again, you will want to take this very seriously, as again, the potential for some very big hail with this storm. We've got just to the northeast of Stockton. Again, that's going to be moving towards Humansville very soon. Collins seeing some rain right now. Looks like the worst of the storm is still just a little bit to your south there, or just to your southwest in Humansville and to the south of Collins. And then we've got another area that we're watching. This hail is probably not quite as big, but still to the east of Flemington, some very big hail with that storm is going to be possible. So new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that includes Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Polk, and St. Clair counties till 12:45 for lime size hail. Okay, we're also still tracking this storm down here. The warning in Springfield has now expired, so this will update very soon. So this warning has expired in Springfield, but we do still have a warning to the northeast of Springfield along Interstate 44. This goes for Webster, Dallas, Laclede, Polk, and Greene counties until 12:30. Again, we're looking at the possibility of softball size hail with this particular storm. I'm going to go ahead and briefly check on our hail reports to see if we've had anything new. And the last update we had was in Willard. There was baseball size hail. I'm going to literally read off what the report says. Lots of baseball sized hail for around 2 to 3 minutes at the National Weather Service Springfield office. Okay, now we actually know where that's at here because, well, it's where the radar site disappears. So right here, the Springfield, it also covers the Springfield Branson National Airport, but the Springfield National Weather Service is right in here, just about somewhere in this area. area. And so right over the National Weather Service there in Springfield, they're saying there was baseball-sized hail for 2 to 3 minutes. So we're not just talking about, oh, there's a couple little hailstones that are falling out of the sky. We're talking about minutes long of baseballs falling out of the sky for several minutes out of the storm. And again, that's when the storm was a little bit weaker. So again, the storm has strengthened since that happened. I want to take you back to when that happened. Here it was. We had baseball-sized hail that moved through Republic, Battlefield, west of Springfield, and then it moved further towards the northeast, towards Batesville and Hickory Barren, and then it started to move towards Fairgrove. And again, the storm has strengthened. That's the craziest part about this. This storm has strengthened a little bit since that happened, since we had baseball size hail. So again, baseball, maybe even upwards of softball size hail. And again, you'll notice there's that hail core right there. Again, this is a very impressive hail signature that we're getting here on the radar. Again, likely looking at quite a bit of damage, unfortunately, across this area. So again, significant hail damage is going to be possible across this area. Okay, we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for the Barton Jasper County area. So let's go ahead and get to that here. Still hasn't showed up, but it's in this area right here around Interstate 49 here. This goes for Barton, Jasper, and Dade counties. New severe thunderstorm warning until 1:15 p.m. At 12:17 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Purcell, or 11 miles north of Joplin, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. So this is a radar indicated threat. There is a considerable threat tag with this storm in the Joplin area, just to the north of Joplin. Locations impacted include northern Joplin, Carthage, Webb City, Stockton Lake, Prairie State Park, Carl Junction, Lamar, Oronogo, Carterville, Greenfield, Lockwood, Jasper, Golden City, Airport Drive, Purcell, Nashville, Carytown, Ashbury, and Neck City. Those areas under a new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this includes Jasper, Dade, and Barton counties until 1:15. So again, we are looking at the possibility of golf ball sized hail and some very significant winds possible out of this storm as well. And so there it is. So again, some very big hail just to the northwest of Oronogo. We've got another cell on the northwest side of Joplin as well. So that's where we're going to be dealing with this here. The warning also said that we had the potential for some straight line winds. So let's go ahead and pull up velocities, and not really seeing anything right now, so that's good. But again, regardless, we're looking at the possibility of large hail with this storm in the Joplin area. So again, this goes for Webb City. We've got Carthage under this warning, Oronogo, Carl Junction, Lamar, all of those areas now under this new warning for the area. All right, let's look at a few other storms. Still tracking that storm here on now we're getting into Conway, just to the southwest of Lebanon. We're looking at, again, softball size hail possible, very destructive storm. So we're still watching that. Severe thunderstorm warning is remaining in effect for Vernon, St. Clair, Cedar, and Barton counties. Okay, so we just had an update. Nevada, you have now been taken out of that warning. So Nevada is no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning, but just to your southeast, we are still under that warning. So for St. Clair, Vernon, Cedar, and Barton counties, severe thunderstorm warning for golf ball size hail until 12:30. At 12:19 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 9 miles south of El Dorado Springs, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Locations impacted include El Dorado Springs, Sheldon, Montebello, Jericho Springs, and into Milford, Olympia as well. So those areas under a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:30 p.m. So again, likely looking at golf ball size hail within that particular warning. Okay, let's see. We've also still got a warning that remains in effect across Flemington, Wabalo, Wheatland, and Hermitage and Cross Timbers. This for Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Polk, and St. Clair counties until 12:45. The latest was at 12:12. A severe thunderstorm was located over Humansville, or 13 miles northeast of Stockton, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Again, lime-size hail is going to be possible. There is a considerable threat tag with this particular storm. Then we go up into our northwestern counties, and we're still tracking that storm around the Windsor and Leeton area. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Johnson and Pettis and Henry counties until 12:45. We're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, radar indicated threat for those areas. All right, so that appears to be the latest that we have. So again, we're watching five different severe thunderstorm warnings. One on the north side of Joplin, including Lamar, one in El Dorado Springs, southeast of Nevada, one along US 54 east of that area, and then one to the southwest of Lebanon, and then also one in the Clinton, Windsor areas. So we've got five different warnings that we are tracking across the viewing area. Again, things have developed very quickly within the last couple of hours. It's a very quickly moving, developing situation that we're tracking here across the area, where we're watching some afternoon thunderstorms that are starting to develop. Again, the biggest threat that we're going to be watching for out of these storms is going to be the hail. We've already had hail reports. We had a hail report that just came into us a little bit ago. We were dealing with 3.25 inches in diameter. That's the largest hailstone that was measured by an off-duty employee there in Republic. So that was the latest storm report. We had baseball size hail, as we mentioned earlier, in Willard. So the good news is we haven't had any tornado warnings, and I don't think we will have any tornado warnings for today. So that is the positive news about all of this here. So yeah, so again, tornado threat today is very low. Our main concerns are going to be hail. That's going to be the biggest threat that we're going to have for today. And I just got an alert saying that we have some hail approaching Joplin right now. So let's see if we can get some updates on that here. Let's see if we can go to the radar and see kind of where we're at. Because again, Joplin looks to be getting some hail. Looks like mainly on the northern side of the city, right along Main Street. Here's Airport Drive, Highway 43. You've also got Webb City. You've got MacArthur Drive right here. So right around the airport, likely seeing some pretty big hail. Again, possibly upwards of quarter size across that region. So yeah, so again, please take these warnings very seriously, as we've already had reports of bigger than baseball size hail. Again, 3.25 inches in diameter is the biggest hail that we've had so far today, but it is very well possible that we could see hail bigger than that as we go in the next a couple of hours across this region. So hopefully, because these storms are moving quickly, they'll move out very quickly. But I mean, as we mentioned in Springfield, the National Weather Service in Springfield said that there was baseball sized hail for several minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, I guess, is what their actual words were. So again, I mean, that's very significant. Anytime you're dealing with baseball sized hail in general, that's very severe. Anytime that it hails for that long, that's even more significant. So hail of that size for that long is a really big deal. So that's what we're talking about here. Also, something else I wanted to point out, we said that that watch was extended along US 54. Lake of the Ozarks, you are also now under a severe thunderstorm watch. So this is a new update. So this goes until 6 p.m. So Lake of the Ozarks, US 54, we got Wabalo, Hermitage, Wheatland, all of those areas were added in the warning. Raleigh, you have also been added under this severe thunderstorm watch. So pretty much everybody is under this watch except for Kansas City, Warrensburg, Sedalia, Nevada, and into Jefferson City and Columbia. But I mean, even outside of that watch, we've had a few storms that have tried to develop, like this one to the south of Warrensburg. All right, just had a new warning issued around Lebanon, so let's get to that here. Still seeing some very destructive hail. We've got Dallas, Laclede, Pulaski, and Camden counties under a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes in effect until 1 p.m. At 12:22 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Conway, or 11 miles east of Buffalo, moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. This is a destructive storm for areas along Interstate 44, including Lebanon. Hazards include baseball size hail. This is a radar indicated threat. There is a destructive tag on this storm. People and animals outdoors will be severely injured. Expect shattered windows, extensive damage to roof sidings and vehicles as well. This dangerous storm will be around Lebanon at 12:30 and Richland around 12:50. Other locations that could be impacted by this storm include Lake of the Ozarks, Bennett Springs State Park, Haha State Park, Bennett Springs, Twin Bridges, Eldridge, and Sleeper in Windyville. If you are in any of these locations, take shelter, move your vehicles inside, because we are talking about some significant damage to vehicles possible when we're dealing with baseball size hail. This includes Interstate 44 near mile marker 119 and mile markers 21 and 145. Again, we have already had hail observed in this area, and then now we're looking at the possibility of baseball-sized hail with this particular warning. And so let's go ahead and go to the closer look at the reflectivity. So again, Long Lane, we're seeing some pretty big hail moving through that area. That was just a few minutes ago. This is just north of Phillipsburg. This kind of purple area in there, that's where we're talking about some very significant hail. Again, Lebanon, this storm will be moving towards your area very soon. And so that is why we do have that warning that has now been issued for Lebanon, but this also includes Stoutland, Richland, Montreal, and into Camdenton. So Camdenton around Lake of the Ozarks, this is the southern part of the Lake of the Ozarks region that is under this new severe thunderstorm warning. All right. We also just had an extension on that warning in the Sedalia area. So new severe thunderstorm warning, including Sedalia. This goes for Henry, Pettis, and Johnson counties until 1:15 p.m. At 12:23 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near the Whiteman Air Force Base, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof sidings and trees will also be possible. The locations impacted include Sedalia, Windsor, Knob Noster, Whiteman Air Force Base, Leeton, Green Ridge, and into Hughesville and the Sedalia Memorial Airport. So if you're in any of these areas, you'll want to make sure to take shelter because a severe thunderstorm warning with 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail will soon be moving into the Sedalia area. Again, that warning goes until 1:15. All right, well, this is GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. It is now the bottom of the hour on this Tuesday afternoon, and we're tracking some very destructive thunderstorms that are moving through Missouri here, western Missouri. And that includes the majority of our viewing area is dealing with storms or will soon be dealing with storms here in the next couple of hours. We've been tracking some very significant hail that has been moving into our area. We already had reports of baseball-sized hail at the National Weather Service there in Springfield. That storm continues to be moving further towards the north and east towards Lebanon. So Lebanon could see potential for baseball-sized hail with some of these storms that we're dealing with right now. So again, some very significant hailstorms are moving into our area. These storms will continue to move further towards the northeast. Also, I am going to, there was a few things that did come up here, and so we will be ending this live stream regardless at 1 p.m. So 1 p.m., that is going to be somewhere around that time. We'll just say somewhere around that time we will need to end this live stream. So again, we may not be able to do a live stream today all the way through the end of this severe weather event. So that is something that we do want you to be aware of. But so again, I have multiple ways to get those warnings. You can continue to stay tuned while we have the live stream, but also continue to keep your phones on so that you can get those alerts when we are not able to live stream. And so that's kind of the latest information on that. Let's go ahead and get to some of the warnings that we have, because again, hail has been very significant out of some of these storms here, and so we're still tracking that. Again, hailstorm to the southwest of Sedalia. This looks like it's going to pass just to so again, it looks like it's kind of moving to the northeast. So it appears to be kind of moving that direction. So Sedalia looks like it's going to pass just to your north, but we'll still have to watch that storm closely. Again, that new warning that was issued for Henry, Pettis, and Johnson counties until 1:15 for some quarter-size hail. Going down further to the south, we've got a few additional warnings that are ongoing across the area. We've got just north of Joplin, severe thunderstorm warning was issued for Barton, Jasper, and Dade County until 1:15. At 12:17, a severe thunderstorm was located near Purcell, or 11 miles north of Joplin, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. We're looking at golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Considerable threat tag with that warning. We also have another warning up to the northeast here. This one expired, but we do have one for Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Polk, and St. Clair counties till 12:45. Considerable threat tag, lime-size hail is going to be possible out of that storm. That includes Humansville and Hermitage, likely dealing with some very significant hail across that area. And then again, the Lebanon area, we are about to get hit with some pretty serious hail. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Dallas, Laclede, Webster, and Pulaski, Laclede, Dallas, Pulaski, and Camden counties until 1 p.m. Baseball-sized hail is going to be possible. We've already had some hail observed out of this particular storm, but again, there is a destructive threat tag with this storm. So again, very significant storm, hailstorm moving into the Lebanon area here within the next several minutes. So we're likely going to get some hail reports coming into us very soon because again, if you look here at the reflectivity, you'll notice that we have lots of purple in there. That purple area indicates that hailstorm that will soon be moving into Lebanon. All right, we also had a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued around the Stockton area. Let's get to that one here. New severe thunderstorm warning for Hickory, Barton, and Cedar, Polk, and Vernon counties until 1:15 p.m. At 12:29 p.m., a pair of severe thunderstorms were located near Sheldon and near Stockton. So here's the storm near Sheldon, here's the storm near Stockton. So a pair of storms were moving east at 45 miles per hour. Tennis ball size hail is going to be possible. This is a radar indicated threat. People and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect damage to roof sidings, windows, and vehicles. Locations impacted include Lake Pomptomac, Stockton Lake, Stockton State Park, Stockton, Pittsburgh, Humansville, Polk, Sheldon, Fairplay, Montevallo, Jericho Springs, and Umberview Heights. So if you're in any of those areas, make sure to take shelter with your vehicles inside if you're able to, because we are looking at a considerable threat tag with that storm. Tennis ball size hail is going to be possible with this storm here. So that is what we're going to be dealing with there in the Stockton regions. Again, just to the west of Stockton, looking at some very significant hail out of that storm here. We've also had a couple new storms that have developed that are not severe warned, but ones that we're tracking closely across the Warsaw area. We're starting to get some purples and some whites in there, so I would not be surprised if we had a warning issued across this area, just considering some of the signatures that we're getting on radar just to the east of Warsaw, east of US 65. We've got some hail around Edmondson, and then we've also got an area just to the west of Fritztoe where we're dealing with some hail that is starting to develop here. So again, would not be surprised if we had some hail within, at least some small hail within these storms. And I also would not be surprised if we had a warning issued for that area very soon. So we'll have to watch that again. Warsaw, really east of Warsaw, I think we might go under a warning very soon. Versailles, I would not be surprised if a severe thunderstorm warning was issued very soon across your area. So we'll have to see whether or not that does happen. All right, let's go back to a regional view. So again, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 severe thunderstorm warnings across our viewing area. Also, we just had a brief storm that popped up to the west of Kansas City. So possibly looking at some additional thunderstorm development across this area. So we'll have to watch for that. All right, let's go back here. The areas in the pink are under a severe thunderstorm watch. In our area, that includes Joplin, Springfield, Bolivar, Stockton, Stockton Lake, Lake of the Ozarks. We've got Camdenton, Hermitage, Lebanon, Rolla, all of those areas under severe thunderstorm watches until 6 p.m. So that's something that we're going to continue to be watching over the next couple of hours here, because again, several more hours of these severe storms is going to be possible. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is our live ongoing coverage of severe weather. Our main threat that we're dealing with today is hail, but we've also had a couple of wind reports as well that have came in across some areas. And so we're going to be watching for that ongoing threat. And let's go ahead and see, we just got a few new hail reports that came into us. Not a whole lot new, so that's always good news a little bit. Anytime that we don't get a whole lot of hail reports, that usually means that maybe we're not actually seeing these storms reaching the ground, or the hail may not be reaching the ground. It might be melting before it actually hits the surface. So maybe that's what we're seeing. If so, that would definitely be some good news here. So yeah, not exactly quite sure if that's what we're dealing with right now, but we'll continue to keep you updated on that. All right, let's update our radar here. So again, we got a storm just to the east and north of Joplin, likely looking at some, again, some quarters or some golf ball size hail with that storm, considerable threat tag. Then we're looking at tennis ball size hail with a considerable threat in Stockton. And then we've got another warning that goes until 12:45 across Humansville, Wabalo, and Hermitage. We're looking at lime size hail out of that storm. Lebanon, we're looking at the threat of baseball size hail. And so that's going to be that warning goes until 1 o'clock. And then we're also looking at some lime size hail in Wright, Texas, and Laclede counties on the southeastern, just to the east of Springfield. That's this warning right here. And then again, as we mentioned, there is a warning for Henry County, but also, so Sedalia, you're dealing with that severe thunderstorm warning as well. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Not a whole lot of updates that we have yet, but that's kind of currently what we're looking at. All right, we're now going to go into a brief intermission. Don't go anywhere. This is GWP Live. And this is GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage here. It is Tuesday afternoon. It's now about 12:43 p.m. and we are still tracking some ongoing severe storms across the viewing area. We just had a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued around the area that I said there might be a warning that was going to be issued. I thought there was a decent chance we got a new warning, and then now we do have a new warning. So let's go ahead and take you into that here. This is including Versailles and um, Okay, so we're just getting all kinds of warnings and alerts right now here. New severe thunderstorm warning issued for Benton, Miller, and Morgan counties until 1:15 p.m. At 12:36 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 10 miles southeast of Lincoln or 11 miles east of Warsaw, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include half-dollar size hail. This is a radar indicated threat. Locations impacted include Lake of the Ozarks, Versailles, Stover, Barnett, Groves Mills, Rocky Mount, and Edmondson. So those areas newly issued under a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:15 p.m. Okay, I'm also getting word that Joplin has just gone under a new warning. So let's go ahead and try to get you to that here. These storms are just developing very quickly here. Again, we've seen so many updates within the last, just really within the last 20 or 30 minutes, really, especially the last hour since we started this live stream here. And so, all right, so right now in the viewing area, we have 6 different areas under a severe thunderstorm warning. So, yeah, pretty significant developments here in the last hour or so. So we've got a warning for Jasper, Barton, and Dade counties till 1:15 for golf ball size hail. Then we have a warning for Hickory, Barton, Cedar, Polk, and Vernon counties until 1:15. Tennis ball size hail with that storm. We've got another warning that remains in effect for Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, St. Clair, and Polk counties till 12:45 for lime size hail. We have a warning in Sedalia for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter size hail. That goes for Pettis and Johnson counties till 1:15. We have a new warning for Benton, Miller, and Morgan counties till 1:15, half-dollar size hail. And then the most significant warning is the one in Dallas, Laclede, Pulaski, and Camden counties until 1 p.m. for baseball size hail. So those are different warnings that we have. So multiple different severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing right now, and we just got another one issued. So let's go to that here. This is that one that I was talking about there in the Joplin area. So new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Joplin, far southwestern Missouri. This goes for Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence, Jasper, and Dade counties till 1:30. At 12:40 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending from Carthage to Joplin, and another severe storm was located in northeast Oklahoma, moving towards Tiff City, northeast at 25 miles per hour. Golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's a considerable threat tag with this storm. Locations impacted include Joplin, Bella Vista, Carthage, Neosho, Webb City, Big Sugar Creek State Park, Monette, Cassville, Seneca, Granby, Anderson, Duquesne, Sarcoxie, and Pierce City. So if you're in any of those areas, you are now under a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, we've also had a couple of small storms around the Kansas City area that are starting to develop as well. So quite a bit of activity here on this Tuesday afternoon. Again, our main concern with a lot of these storms is going to be hail. As these storms continue to make further to the north, they are going to start to weaken. And so you'll notice that the bigger threat is along and south of US 54. Anywhere north, our main threat is going to be for some small quarter to half-dollar size hail. But our main concern, our main threat area is going to be far southwestern Missouri, Joplin, over to Stockton Lake, Lebanon, along and south of US 54. That's really the main area that we're watching for with these storms here. So, all right, let's see. We got a few updates in here. And just seeing here, we got multiple new updates that I'm getting here. So just want to get you the latest information that we have on these storms. All right. Let's go ahead and look to see if we have any power outages. I don't think we have too many, but we'll still check. We are at, oh wow, okay, we do have a little bit more than I thought. 27,000 customers without power. Greene County is 10,000 customers in Greene County. That's Springfield. Greene County's down here. We get 10,000 customers. So So a decent number of power outages right now, not anything too significant, but still quite a few power outages there. All right, we've had a few new hail reports come in. Fairgrove, golf ball size hail. Okay. Wow. Okay, 5 miles southeast of Willard. We have a report correction. There was softball size hail near Willard, Missouri. So I just got a report of softball size hail near Willard, Missouri. That was at 16:45. So that would have been just about an hour ago. So okay, so this is 30 minutes after the storm, a softball-sized hailstone was recorded near Willard. That to me tells me that it was probably even a little bit bigger. So now we're looking at hail reports coming in of around 4, maybe even more inches in diameter. That is a pretty significant hailstone. Yeah, pretty significant hailstone there was recorded in Willard. 4 inches in diameter. Wow, that is that's quite big. So 4 inches in diameter was that hailstone that we had there. All right. So let's go ahead and go back to a view here. I think overall things are somewhat quieting down, not necessarily in the coverage of these storms, but I think the hail is getting a little bit smaller than what it was just a little bit ago. Let's go ahead and get some updates on these warnings. Let's get an update on the warning in Lebanon. North Lebanon right now, still baseball size hail, so nothing new on that here. We've still got that new warning for Versailles. $half size hail is going to be possible out of that storm. That includes Benton, Miller, and Morgan counties till 1:15. Sedalia, you're still under a warning for Pettis County till 1:15. Some quarter size hail possible out of that storm. Stockton under a severe thunderstorm warning still for tennis ball size hail, so a considerable threat tag with that. That includes Vernon, Polk, Cedar, and Barton counties and Hickory counties, 1:15, considerable threat tag. And then we've got that warning that remains in effect for the Lamar area till 1:15. That goes for Barton, Jasper, and Dade counties. Golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible out of that storm here. So let's see on flooding. No flood reports yet. So that's positive. Let's see, we've even got a few storms that are starting to develop in southeastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. So we will have to see where those storms go here. So we'll be watching that closely. Kansas City, storms are going to pass just here north, it looks like. So on the northern side of Kansas City, looking at some showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder in that area. So watch for that. Looks like we got some light rain starting to move into Jefferson City. Columbia could be seeing some light rain very soon. I'll go ahead and see if we have any right now out my window here. Currently nothing falling in this area. So Columbia, you're still dry. Probably won't see the worst of these storms today. I think the worst is really going to stay along and south of US 54. That appears to be where the worst of these storms are going to be located. So also, I just want to show you this here from the Storm Prediction Center. Their main concern today is going to be in our viewing area along and south of US 54. I'm going to give a very rough drawing of where US 54 is. US 54 is kind of like this. Kind of, not exactly. Somewhere in that region. You get kind of the idea. And it goes from Nevada, goes over to Jefferson City, and then it goes just east of Columbia. So again, that's a very rough drawing here. I guess we're assuming this is Fulton. We're assuming that's Jefferson City. That's actually not that far off from what it is here. I guess if we want it to get really specific, you have Vernon County, then it goes through. Then, of course, it goes through El Dorado Springs. So then it goes into St. Clair County. It goes through Hickory County, Camden. Okay, that's actually pretty accurate. I didn't expect that. So, anyways, there's US 54. So our main severe weather threat is going to be along and south of US 54. Now, again, we've had a few severe thunderstorm warnings, like we have one right now around Sedalia. I'm probably going to mess this up. Sedalia is kind of right in that area. Um, so yeah, we got Sedalia in this area, of course, and then here's Nevada down here. Nevada, you're not under that severe weather risk, and so our viewing area is right in roughly this area. So that's roughly our viewing area. So our southern counties, that's really our main concern. Our northwestern counties, not really a whole lot of activity is expected. Again, we got a couple of kind of stragglers, I guess you could say, or a couple of outliers in Versailles and Sedalia. But other than that, the majority of our severe storms are going to be along and south of US 54. And the Storm Prediction Center has done a really great job of outlining that. That severe thunderstorm watch goes for kind of this area anyways. So that's where our watch is at. Our biggest severe weather threat overall today across the country is going to be around Dallas, Fort Worth, where we've got a moderate risk. That was recently updated by the Storm Prediction Center. We've also got an enhanced risk across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. So that's really where the majority of our severe weather is. But again, a few storms will sneak into our far southern counties for us today, as we've already seen. Again, our main concern is going to be hail, wind, along and south of Interstate 44, but hail, that's going to be the big threat that we're going to have out of these storms here for us across our region for today. All right, we're now going to go into another brief intermission. We will return here at the top of the hour. This is GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. It is now almost 1 p.m. here on this Tuesday afternoon, and we are tracking some ongoing severe storms across the viewing area. As I have mentioned a couple of times throughout this live stream, regardless of whether or not the storms are still going on, this live stream will be coming to a temporary end at 1:30 p.m. So again, in 30 minutes, we will be ending this live stream regardless, as I do have a class that I will be attending, and so that is for that reason. So we'll go ahead and we'll show you what we're currently dealing with here right now. We've got a few different severe thunderstorm warnings across the area, although as we mentioned, again, the majority of these storms are starting to weaken as they lift a little bit further towards the north. But we're still going to go ahead and show you this here because we've got 5 warnings that are active across the viewing area. We'll go ahead and we'll start here in the southwest because we are still dealing with some pretty significant rain and thunderstorms, maybe even some hail across this area here. So we'll start with this warning in far southwestern Missouri. This goes for Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence, Jasper, and Dade counties under this warning until 1:30 p.m. At 12:40 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending from Carthage to Joplin, and another severe storm was located northeast Oklahoma, moving towards Tiff City, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Hazards include golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Because we are looking at golf ball size hail, there is a considerable threat tag with this warning. This goes for Joplin, Bella Vista, Carthage, Monette, Cassville, Big Sugar Creek State Park, Neosho, Webb City, Seneca, Galena, Pierce City, and Circoxie. Those areas under this warning until 1:30. Again, our main threats are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail. Considerable threat tag on that storm that does include Joplin. Then to the north of Joplin and Carthage and Lamar and Golden City, those areas under a severe thunderstorm warning till 1:15. This goes for Barton and Jasper and Dade counties till 1:15. At 12:17, a severe thunderstorm was located 11 miles north of Joplin with golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. There is a considerable threat tag on that warning. All right, so then we've got another warning just to the north. Actually, we're going to go ahead, we're going to move over that for a moment because we just had a new warning that was issued in our viewing area. So we want to get you to the latest warning. This includes Lake of the Ozarks. So we want to get you up to speed on the new severe thunderstorm warning. This was issued for Mears, Miller, Pulaski, and Camden counties under a new severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. At 12:57 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 9 miles northwest of Richland, or 13 miles east of Camdenton, moving northeast 60 miles per hour. Hazards include lime-size hail. Locations that could be impacted by this storm include Lake of the Ozarks, Hahatonka State Park, Eldon, Osage Beach, Camdenton, Richland, Lake Ozark, Croker, Iberia, Vienna, St. Elizabeth, Lynn Creek. Those areas under a new severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect until 1:45. Again, there is a considerable threat tag on this storm. So again, please take shelter if you're in any of those areas that we listed off. That includes Osage Beach and Eldon. So we've also got another warning just to the northwest of that area, including for sales for Benton, Miller, and Morgan counties until 1:15. There is the possibility that we're looking at some half-dollar size hail with that storm. So we're going to continue to watch that closely. Then, as we mentioned, where we were going to mention there, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect across Hickory, Barton, Polk, Cedar, and Vernon counties till 1:15. The latest was at 12:29 p.m. A pair of severe thunderstorms was located near Sheldon and near Stockton, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include tennis ball size hail. Locations impacted include Lake Pointe-à-Terre, Stockton Lake, Stockton itself, Humansville, Polk, Sheldon, Fairplay, Jericho Springs, Flemington, Olympia, and Goodson. Considerable threat tag with the possibility of tennis ball size hail that could be moving across that area. So again, please take shelter if you're under that warning. So again, in total right now, we are still tracking 5 different areas where we have severe thunderstorms in effect. Again, our main concern is hail. Right now, we're looking at the possibility of hail anywhere from quarter size to half-dollar size to golf ball size to upwards of tennis ball size. That would be the highest threat level, at least for right now. But again, earlier today around Springfield, we did have some softball size hail, and there was several minutes of baseball size hail that was reported at the National Weather Service there in Springfield. So that is what we are dealing with here. We've also had some additional storm development on the northern side of Kansas City, so we'll continue to watch that. Nothing too significant there. Again, our storms in Sedalia, those have weakened below severe limits, so those are continuing to move off towards kind of the north and east. So we'll see. Columbia, still haven't seen really any rainfall here, but we'll continue to watch that over the next 20 or 30 minutes to see exactly what happens. Will these storms re-strengthen as they move towards Columbia? It's possible. I will say we haven't had a lot of sunshine here. It's also in the 50s right now, temperatures are. And typically, when you have the ingredients that we have right now, which is not a whole lot, typically we wouldn't see a whole lot of severe weather across this area, just based on our conditions. But we'll see if anything does change here within the next 30 minutes or so. And of course, I'll get a first-hand look at the weather here in Columbia in just a little bit when I'm outside here and just after we end this live stream here. So, all right, so that's what we're looking at right now. So no new real significant developments. Again, really the biggest tail that we have right now is going to be for that storm around Stockton. The Stockton storm right now has the potential to see up to tennis ball size hail. And so that would be our really big concern right now across the viewing area is this storm right here, where we're looking at some pretty big hail. Again, potentially upwards to tennis ball size hail in Stockton. So, also looks like we got a pretty big hail maker just to the east of Nevada, so we need to watch that. We also could be seeing some big hail west of Collins. So west of Collins and then another storm east of Nevada. We need to watch both of those. At the very least, we're dealing with some very heavy rainfall across this area, which a lot of these areas have already seen quite a bit of rainfall within the past several days with our various rounds of thunderstorms. We had thunderstorms Thursday. We had thunderstorms on, I guess it would have been on Sunday. And then we had thunderstorms again yesterday. And then now we're dealing with storms today. And so it is for that reason that a lot of these areas are already pretty waterlogged. And so that means that, again, flooding is going to be, it's going to be able to happen a lot sooner than it normally would because we already have that very saturated soil. And so that's what we know kind of about that. So let's look at some of these hail reports. Again, we had softball size hail reported near Willard. We had tennis ball size hail near Battlefield in Greene County. Springfield tennis ball to lime size hail. Republic lime size hail. Another report in Republic of apple size hail. We had Glidewell lime size hail, tennis ball size hail. Okay. Um, Let's see. We also had near Norwood in Wright County, Missouri, lime size hail was reported there. Springfield, another report of lime size hail as well. So multiple reports. Aurora had baseball size hail. Purdy and Berry County, we had lime size hail. Wheaton, Missouri, Wheaton in Berry County had tennis ball size hail. So, and then multiple reports of apple size hail around northwest Arkansas and Benton County. So, yeah, quite a few reports that we've had. Pretty much all of the damage that we've had, at least in the state of Missouri, all of the damage we've had today has come from hail. So, hail has been the number one concern with the storms that we've had out there today. So, all right, we will now move into our next brief intermission here. This is GWP Live. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we are back here on GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. We just had a new warning that was issued for Springfield, so we're going to get to that. But before we do that, just briefly again, I want to update you. If you are relying on this live stream for up to a minute weather information, understand that there will be a gap in our coverage for today between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. So 1:30 and 3, there will not be severe weather coverage as we are unable to live stream during that time period. So again, we will be down for just a little bit between 1:30 and 3 p.m. And so for that reason, if you are continuing to rely on this coverage here, you will want to make sure to have another way to get any life-saving alerts that you might need during that time frame. So 1:30 to 3. Other than that, you can tune in here for the latest information here on GWP. Our severe weather threat today will be over around 5 or 6 p.m. So we won't be doing any live streaming past that time as well for that reason as well. So all right, but let's go ahead and give you the latest information on our warning issued for Springfield. This goes for Christian, Polk, Stone. We've got Lawrence, Greene, and Dade counties under a new severe thunderstorm warning until 2 p.m. At 1:05 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Mount Vernon. There's Mount Vernon. Storm's just to your west, moving right over you probably right now. And it's going to be another storm was located near Republic, so we're also watching this one near the Springfield area, and it was moving east 50 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So again, hail threat has gone down a little bit with some of these storms, so that is the positive news. Locations impacted include Springfield, Nixa, Ozark, Republic, Aurora, Battlefield, Willard, Mount Vernon, Rogersville, Stratford, Marion, Clever, Sparta, Ash Grove, Fairgrove, and Pierce City. So if you're in any of those locations that I just rambled off, then you will want to take shelter because again, we are talking about some hail potential out of that storm here. We might even be seeing some winds. Yeah, I think we might also be getting some strong winds in here around the Mount Vernon area as well. Probably not anything too bad. I would estimate 40 or maybe 50 miles per hour just based on the shape of here on the radar. Say 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's probably nothing too significant, but still want to make sure to be careful there with the wind threat. But again, our main threat today with a lot of these storms is going to be severe hail. That's what we've had so far today, and that's what the main threat's going to continue to be as we go over the next couple of hours. We still have that warning for Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence, Jasper, and Dade counties till 1:30. Golf ball size hail. That's going to be the big threat for that area. Then we've also still got that warning for Barton, Jasper, and Dade County to the north of that warning. So it's this area right here, 115 for golf ball size hail. That will be expiring very soon. We'll have to see if it's extended. Let's see. And then we got tennis ball size hail within this storm. That's going to be expiring at 1:15. So a lot of these warnings are actually going to be expiring in the next few minutes here. So that, of course, is really good. Okay, we do still have that warning in effect across Lake of the Ozarks. That goes for Mears, Miller, Pulaski, and Camden counties till 1:45. Lime size hail, considerable threat tag. That goes until 1:45. Versailles, we're possibly looking at some half-dollar size hail with that storm. So severe thunderstorm warning for Benton, Miller, and Morgan counties. That goes until 1:15, which is actually right now. So again, a lot of these warnings likely will be expiring very soon here at 1:15. So we'll have to see what happens once these warnings expire. Will they get extended, or will the National Weather Service think these storms are below severe limits and not need that? So we'll continue to update you as we get the newest and the latest information on that. Let's look at power outages. Missouri is currently at 26,000 customers without power. The majority of those are in St. Louis and Greene counties. St. Louis is at 27,000 or at 12,700 outages. St. Louis County, that is. And then Greene County, Missouri, we're at 10,200 customers without power. So that's really where we have the majority of the power outages right now across that area. So that's what we're looking at here across the viewing area. All right, we have some good news. A lot of our warnings are starting to expire, so our severe weather threat is definitely beginning to decrease here just a little bit. Still haven't gotten all the updates here, but let's see. This warning has expired. This warning has expired. And then this warning has expired. Those three warnings have expired. So now we're down to this one in Joplin. We've got one in Springfield and then one for Lake of the Ozarks. Those are the current warnings that we have here across the viewing area. So overall, it appears that our severe weather threat is beginning to go down just a little bit. We will still have some showers and thunderstorms in the viewing area over the next couple of hours, really this afternoon into the early evening hours. This will all end around 5 or 6 p.m. Storms will clear out of the state of Missouri. Our bigger severe weather threat today is really going to be across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So we're going to have to see what happens across those areas. But at least here in the state of Missouri, our main severe weather threat will be coming to an end within the next several hours. And then again, this is the last day that we're going to be dealing with severe weather for this week. Again, there was a little bit of a forecast error that we had. We were expecting these storms to be a little further south than they were. So that's what prompted today's unexpected severe thunderstorms. But again, as we go through the rest of this week, we are not anticipating any additional severe storms. So this will likely be the last live stream that we have for the week later this evening. All right, we'll now move into another brief intermission. We'll keep you updated here. This is GWP Live. All right, and welcome back here into GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. It is Tuesday afternoon at 1:21 p.m., and we're still tracking some ongoing severe thunderstorms across the viewing area. Again, those three X's represent where we did have severe thunderstorm warnings, but we have allowed those to, or the National Weather Service has allowed those to expire because we're now no longer looking at severe storms in those areas. So the storms have weakened below severe limits. We are still tracking some storms here across Interstate 44. We've got another storm that's still severe warned across the Lake of the Ozarks area. And then we've also got a few storms here across southeastern Kansas. Those will soon be moving into southwest Missouri, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for those storms. Let's go ahead and kind of do a quick check in on these different warnings. So we've got Joplin and points to the south under this severe thunderstorm warning. This goes in effect for Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence, Jasper, and Dade counties till 1:30. Considerable threat tag, golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible out of that storm. Then we have another storm moving into the Springfield area. This goes for, we've got Stone, Lawrence, Greene, and Dade counties till 2 p.m. We had an update at 1:17 rather p.m. Central Daylight Time. A severe thunderstorm was located near Mount Vernon, moving east at 45 miles per hour. We're looking at golf ball size hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. So now we're looking at the risk of some straight line damaging winds on that leading edge of the storm. So again, could be looking at some 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds with that. There is a considerable threat tag for both the wind and the hail. This includes Interstate 44 between mile markers 43 and 87. Locations impacted include Springfield, Nixa, Ozark, Republic, Aurora, Battlefield, Willard, Mount Vernon, Rogersville, Strafford, Marionville, Clever, Sparta, Ashgrove, Fairgrove, Billings, Highlandville, and Fremont Hills and Miller. So if you're in any of those locations, take shelter, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Again, our main concern today has been that hail threat, but we've also had to deal with some strong winds across some of these areas as well. We are dealing with some strong storms north of Springfield around Bolivar, right, or around Buffalo rather, east of Bolivar. And then we got another storm around Stratland here, just northeast of Lebanon. We've got a few other pretty strong storms north of US 54. Again, so far the common theme today has been once these storms have made it north of US 54, they've lost the big hail. And so that's so far been the theme. We'll see if that continues through the rest of today here. And then we got another warning further to the north across the Lake of the Ozarks. This warning remains in effect until a 1:45 for Mayors and Miller counties. Golf ball size hail is going to be possible with this storm. There is a considerable threat tag with that warning. So again, we got three severe thunderstorm warnings. Did not mean to do that here. We got three severe thunderstorm warnings across the viewing area. One to the south of Jefferson City around Lake of the Ozarks. One on the south side of Joplin, and then one moving into Springfield. Right now, the most significant warning is that one in Springfield, where we're looking at the possibility of 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail. So there is a considerable threat that will be possible with that storm. Again, the Storm Prediction Center today is outlining our southern counties under a marginal risk for severe weather. Springfield is under that slight risk where it's going to be a little bit worse. Our main threat today is going to be hail, but along and south of Interstate 44, straight line damaging winds and a couple of brief spin ups are going to be possible. The highest risk for severe weather is in Dallas Fort Worth area, where we've got 6.5 million people in Dallas Fort Worth area that are under that moderate risk today. Our main concern is going to be hail, but we're also going to have a tornado and wind risk across that area as well. Also, as a reminder, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect for all areas in pink on this map. That continues until 6 p.m. Even if you've already had a couple of thunderstorms, you could get more. We're looking at multiple rounds of severe thunderstorms as we go through later today. And so that's going to be kind of the big story as we go through today, as highlighted by the National Weather Service in Springfield, as highlighted by their story. So again, severe thunderstorm watch. Our main concern is large hail. Maybe again, tennis ball sized hail. It's already happened. Wind gust up to 70 miles per hour. Springfield's going to get that very soon. And so again, that's what we're looking at today. Severe weather risk for Tuesday. Again, large hail is going to be our primary hazard, but our secondary hazards will be some straight line damaging winds and a tornado possible. So that's what we're going to be looking at as we go into today. This is outdated. This actually shows what the severe weather outlook was supposed to be. But again, earlier today, the Storm Prediction Center updated it, and now it goes kind of like this a little bit. So now this area is now under a marginal risk for severe weather. So this is actually that green area. It's now shifted further to the north. And so that's why originally I didn't think we would have a whole lot of severe weather today across Missouri. But again, that hail threat became a bigger concern. And then we started to see those thunderstorms develop this afternoon. And then that's kind of what happened here. So that's really kind of been the progression of how things have happened so far this afternoon. Well, again, since we don't have anything more significant to talk about, we are going to go ahead and end the live stream. Again, 1:30 to 3 o'clock, there will be no live stream. If necessary, we will pick this up after 3 p.m. As of right now, not anticipating that happen. Please have a way to get those alerts. If you hear thunder, move inside it as quickly as you can. If you have a warning for hail, make sure you get your vehicle inside. Make sure that you and any animals like pets that you may have are inside as well, because the hail that we've been seeing today can certainly injure them. And so you would not want yourself or others or animals to be injured that you may have. And so make precautions with that. Again, hail is our big concern. If we get a tornado warning, of course, you will get one of those wireless emergency alerts. But again, not expecting that at this time. We'll continue to keep you updated here on GWP. But again, for now, we will go ahead and end the live stream. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you back here next time here. Stay safe out there as we go through the afternoon hours today.